Hello, everyone. Th- Thank you so much, and welcome to our 6th annual Relativity Fest, our biggest and most comprehensive fest yet. Who's ready to go? I really love you guys. Okay, so for all your social media lights out there, you can track and contribute to the discussion online in Twitter by using the Relativity Fest hashtag. Please go have fun with it. But please, no tweeting after midnight. This is especially you, David Horgan. Okay. Before we get going, I want to tell a story of a customer visit that I had earlier this year. I was visiting these two guys from Jackson Walker in their Texas office. I just popped in. Our meeting really had no agenda. They were about 6 months into their deployment of Relativity. And during the meeting, we geeked out what seemed like everything. Their infrastructure, the templates that they were building, the migration utility that they built to take data from their legacy tool into Relativity, the way that they were doing their rollout, the cool application that they were building on their platform. I was learning from them, and they were learning from me. We were talking fast and furiously, and at one point during the meeting, Dwayne looks at me, and he says, "Man, I haven't had this much fun at work in years." My best impression of Dwayne Lights in his Texas drawl. And when he said that, man, it gave me like the goosebumps. And that's what Fest is all about. Geeking out, sharing stories, having fun, and really enjoying the work that we do. Okay. We have over 1,500 attendees this year visiting Chicago from all over the world and across all of our customer segments. We have a more diverse group coming to Fest with more legalists and IT professionals. We've got a great lineup this year, 111 unique sessions, over 150 speakers. We have 9 instructor-led workshops and 9 self-paced labs where you can get hands-on with the software. And for those who are ready, we have 6 exams that you can take to help ensure and validate your expertise with Relativity. We've partnered with the EDRM and IGI this year. The EDRM is hosting their fall workgroup and sessions at Fest, and the IGI is conducting their day-long boot camp and hosting sessions as well. And thank you so much for bringing your content to Fest. Backed by popular demand, the judicial panel with the Honorable Judge David Waxy, Nora Berry Fisher, Andrew Peck, Xavier Rodriguez, and moderated by our very own David Horgan, where I'm sure he's going to be very entertaining and be throwing up all kinds of fastballs and slow pitches. On Wednesday, we'll be announcing the winners of our 2nd annual Innovation Awards. And the submissions this year are awesome. Solutions that streamline infrastructure management, project management tools, new ways of looking at data and Relativity. And along with the awards that we're giving out to the best service provider and the best law firm solution, we have a Community Choice Award where you can vote for what you think is the most innovative solution built on the Relativity platform. Please go vote today. Our inspirational keynote, Sal Khan. Sal is the founder and executive director of the Khan Academy. The Khan Academy is pioneering the future of education and truly leveling the playing field by providing free access to the highest quality online courses where you can literally learn about anything except for e-discovery. We checked the other day, there's nothing online. Great opportunity. He's an amazing guy, and I know you'll love hearing his inspirational message. I want to take a moment to thank our gold and silver sponsors for supporting Relativity Fest, the community, and most importantly, for the innovation that they've done building things on Relativity or integrating their innovative products with our platform. You can visit all of our sponsors and check out their software and innovations at the Community Pavilion. And while you're there, you can take a moment to hang out with some other Fest goers, talk with our pros at the advice bar, charge your phone, relax, sit on your laptop, have some coffee, eat a Snickers bar. The pavilion, the community pavilion is open for the entire duration of the show. And tomorrow, we've got our big social event, and we'll be hanging out at Chicago's historical Union Station and you'll be having a party with a couple thousand of your closest friends with the music of the Blues Traveler. And for those who refuse to go home, yes, there will be an after party. The location will be disclosed tomorrow night, and it will be epic, that I can tell you. It's a little cartoon character that the design team put together. I think they did it just to make fun of me, right? It's kind of an accurate portrayal. Works hard with those bags underneath my eyes, and you could totally defame me with it. So earlier this year, the Gartner group published their annual report, their Magic Quadrant for e-discovery. And in the report, they listed Kure as a leader in e-discovery software. The report goes on and they evaluate all these different companies, and they detail what they consider the companies or the product strengths and areas for caution or concern for potential buyers. And one of the things that they list as a strength is this: that the ecosystem, that the community of users, partners, the developers, the service providers, that this community is a strength, and that this community continues to grow. And that members of this community jointly contribute to enhancing Relativity, its design, its usability, and its functionality. And when I first read the report, this blew me away. And I thought that was so cool, that one of the greatest strengths of Relativity, the platform, one of the best features of Relativity is you, this community. How awesome is that? This community of 330 direct customers, law firms, corporations, service providers, advisory firms, government institutions who have taken Relativity, deployed it behind their firewalls, or they're hosting it with one of our managed service providers. This community of over 128,000 users who are actively logging into Relativity on a monthly basis. This community of our 120 lit support partners, groups that are working hand in hand with their customers on the world's most heinous e-discovery challenges. This community of 52 best in service partners. These groups have demonstrated the utmost perfection, close to perfection maybe, in being able to host Relativity and provide a great experience for their end users. This community of 34 developer partners, groups who are building innovative new solutions on top of the Relativity platform, or again, taking their solutions and integrating it with ours, competitive or not. This community now is meeting at 22 user groups nationwide, and then there's one in London, and it's been great in bringing a local community together of Relativity users. And they've been really invaluable to us in learning more about what we're doing well and areas that we can improve. This community of certified professionals. And now we have close to 1,000 RCAs, and we very much appreciate the time that you take in learning our software and taking and passing the certification. And with a 42% passing rate, this remains still one of the most difficult certifications in our industry from a software standpoint. And I want to take a moment to recognize and acknowledge our Relativity Masters. These are the Relativity certified professionals who are not only RCAs, but they've then taken 4 other high-level certifications that we have. And these folks have truly demonstrated their expertise in our platform. So let me just it's awesome. Our community is growing through the Relativity Academic Partners Program. And if you haven't heard of it, I just want to tell you a little what it's all about. It exists to educate law schools and paralegal students on the use of technology in the modern practice of law. Now, the groups who participate in the program, we give them free access to Relativity and training at no charge. We also provide some curriculum and webinars that then these educators can then fold into their very own curriculum. And the whole point of it is to help elevate the role of e-discovery in these schools and ultimately strengthen our industry. The feedback that we've gotten for the groups who've been participating in it has been really great, helping them incorporate modern legal practices in their programs. When students come out of it being a bit more marketable because they have some tech skills that are relevant. And I thought this was really cool, that the educators have built a small little community themselves, and it's helping them build better curriculum. How cool is that? Now we have 50 academic partners, groups like University of Chicago, University of North Carolina School of Law, University of California, Berkeley Law. This is awesome. And this program is building a ton of momentum. So cool. And as a community, well, you guys have been really busy. We now have over 584 instances, deployments of Relativity worldwide. You're supporting over 10,000 organizations in over 78,000 workspaces. And now we have over 54 billion files under management, close to 8 petabytes of data. It's a lot. And in the last 12 months, this community has supported end users performing over 17.5 billion user actions in the environment in the last 12 months. It's pretty crazy. This community is also building momentum in the use of relativity analytics. We have 243 accounts using the technology in 2015, representing 90% of our user base. And we continue to put more and more data through the platform with over 800,000 gigabytes indexed. And this community has allowed Kure to have an impact in our own local community through our own philanthropic arm, Kure Gives, and I'd just like to take a moment to tell you about it. So Kure Gives, again, is our philanthropic arm, and its charter is to ensure that all youth in the community, and we focus on like inner city, especially those with like limited resources, really have access to like the technology and the equipment and the training that they need to be successful in today's work environment. And there's 4 different programs related to Kure Gives. We have our monthly Geek Grant, where employees can go and nominate an organization that they're really passionate about. We provide some funds there. We have volunteer programs. But the most impactful program with Kure Gives is the Wired to Learn grant. And this is where we've partnered with the Chicago Public School System. And there's a grant process where these principals, they fill out a grant in terms of like what they would do if they had access to more technology. How would they fold it into their curriculum? How would they educate their teachers? How would that have an impact on their students? And how they would measure that? And then based on these grants, we select 3 schools, and they receive an allocation of money. Each school gets $250,000 that gets allocated over a 3-year period. And they take that money and they buy technology and they deploy it. And I gotta tell you, we've been doing this for about 3 years now, and the impact that we're having on these schools and the community is real. And I just want to take a moment to play this video.
So we're passionate about what we call equity of access and equitable access, getting all of our students access to technology. But access is the #1 problem that we have, and that's where the Kure grant has been so powerful. A lot of our students and parents don't have access to technology outside of the local school building. Having that access in a neighborhood is transformational, and what we've seen is that it's grown the community, it's brought the community together. It's just been an incredibly powerful thing for that community as a whole.
Student attendance was impacted by the grant. In the previous year, we were at 94%, and we've increased 1 percentage point. And then that 1 percentage point is very difficult to achieve for attendance, but I can highly attest it to students being excited to come to school and access technology on a daily basis.
My students approach the challenges in school now with the technology much differently than they did before. They would give up in the past because it was just paper and pencil, I can't do it, and that's it. So now they're like, oh, wait a second, I can look this up. It's no more, I don't get it, I'm done. They want to keep going, and they're up for that challenge.
Last year I had a student who was a high-functioning autistic student, and she wasn't very verbal. When I gave her the iPad just really opened up a world for her beyond the reach that I had even known that she was capable of. She was really able to show some of the skill set, the knowledge that she had that she couldn't articulate.
One thing I want to say is that I'm very grateful for getting new stuff. Technology does make homework easier, and I think other kids agree too.
Well, I think we're really lucky to get the grant from Kure because I don't think we have gotten the same test scores. And even though we're going on to high school, I'm so glad that even kids younger than me, they're still gonna have this iPads, the Chromebooks to use and get smarter. It's really overwhelming how much technology that we're getting to use. It's like a privilege.
Since the inception of Kure Gives back in 2011, Kure has granted over $1.5 million to help bring technology to students. And there's no way we could have done this without your support. Thank you. Okay, help us give back. We've partnered with Cherry Pick, and you can help give back to your Kure Gives charity of choice. Cherry Pick is a giving platform that you can use on your mobile device, and we have loaded up $10 for each Fest attendee. Please download the app, put your code in there, and then allocate your $10 over the next couple of days, and we'll report back at closing comments and the impact that you've all made. Wow, we've accomplished a lot as a community, and I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for all your support. I want to thank you for all your feedback and helping us build a better product. I want to thank you for being patient with us when things don't go right. I want to thank you for all the innovation that you do on the platform. I want to thank you for building this ecosystem. I want to thank you for your business. Thank you. All right, I'm done. Oh, we still got more to do. Okay. So a year ago at Fest last year, we released Relativity 9 on stage at Fest, and it was a major update to our software. With 9, it was phase 1 in our effort to modernize the entire front end to Relativity. And within phase 1, we basically had three different things we wanted to set out to do. One is we had to rebuild the viewer from the ground up. We had this ActiveX control. We wanted to remove you from the shackles of the ActiveX control and build a zero-footprint viewer that you can use to view documents in the system. And if we were going to build a zero-footprint viewer, we might as well make the system cross-browser and cross-platform compatible, so we went and did that. And we're in all these pages doing all that work. Well, we might as well make it look better, so we went out and did that. And then we laid the foundation in being able to scale Relativity to billions of documents, raising the natural limit in terms of what you can do in a system like this, and laid the foundation with distributed data with the data grid. Phase 1 of our modernization effort. And then 6 months later, we announced Relativity 9.2, giving you new ways of looking at your analytics data inside the software with cluster visualization. And since the release of 9, we now have 217 instances running on the 9 series, representing 163 accounts and a little over 70,000 users. And the feedback that we're getting on 9 has been good. Now, no longer having to deal with that ActiveX control, now you can actually do business at more organizations, because that was an impediment for you getting you that work. We could better service our Mac users now. Great, welcome to the 21st century, Kure. People are really digging cluster visualization. Wow, I'm just doing the upgrade just so I can get that capability. And with the data grid, we're starting to offload real data from the SQL databases into the data grid. With Allstate using basically migrating over 5 billion audits from 700 cases, over 5 terabytes of data, reclaiming that space and freeing up what is probably their most expensive storage. And these are just some of the small anecdotes with the wins that people are having with Relativity 9. And now I'm going to bring some folks on stage so they can share their own experience with 9. First, I'd like to bring up Matt Knopf. He's eDiscovery Counsel at CDS, a longtime friend and Relativity partner, so he can show us how 9 has helped impact his business. So thanks for doing this, man. We very much appreciate it.
Thank you for having me and having us to tell our story.
Okay, cool. So what's your role over at CDS?
I am eDiscovery Counsel, and in my role at CDS, I'm counsel to CDS to make sure that we practice what we preach. To our clients, I'm an eDiscovery and data privacy consultant. So just making sure that all of our clients' goals can be actualized using technology.
Oh, cool, cool. So earlier this year, you guys actually over the past 12 months, you started to adopt more and more of our technologies, and specifically relativity processing. You started to adopt it in a really big way, actually making it your primary processing tool.
We did.
And just this summer, you guys have hustled over 90 terabytes of data, putting over 221 million documents into review. Can you tell us how using more of our technology has impacted and helped your business?
Well, it's helped our business in numerous ways. We're a full service provider, and what the relativity stack has allowed us to do, and we were the first partner to go all in on the full relativity stack, it's engage our clients across the EDRM and turn solutions into action items on which we can execute using the technology all in one platform. And looking at these numbers, they at first glance, they represent speed, capacity, scalability.
Yeah.
But if you peel back the onion, the real story they represent is the flexibility of the platform and how that flexibility actually complements the expertise and creativity of our engineers, our project managers, and our consultants. And what I like about it is, despite the fact that we all use relativity, we've been able to really differentiate ourselves in the marketplace, and that's helped us get some really big wins.
That's cool. I think it's a big part of how we build the software. It's like a bunch of building blocks, a lot of configurability, and it really requires an expert to get the most out of it.
Definitely. I mean, it's definitely important about who's behind the scenes pushing the buttons. You know, you can give 10 different people the Chevy that Dale Earnhardt Jr. drives, but they're not going to all win the Daytona 500.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, if you give 100 different partners relativity, they're going to implement that in 100 different ways.
Yeah, cool. You guys have worked on some really heinous projects over the past few months, and they're really, really impressive. Can you tell us more about it?
Sure. I'll go through each one of these case studies. Now, this first case was an international products liability case. We are an international provider, and there was numerous challenges that we faced in this case. The data set that we had identified during the preservation stage was just unbelievably massive, and we had to find a way to narrow the scope of this case. And even using targeted collections, we narrowed the scope to 27.3 terabytes.
Wow.
We ended up processing 15 of those terabytes.
Wow.
And when I talk about processing, you know, vendors always talk about the speed. We can do 1 terabyte a day, 2 terabytes a day. But what we really want to change the conversation to is getting documents to the end user.
Yeah.
So we had one of these Mission Impossible style deadlines. Once we finished collection, we had 2 weeks to begin productions.
Oh, wow.
Now, the issue with that was we really wanted to give our client transparency into that entire data set. So we went all in with relativity processing, and the speed was just amazing. Now, we did have an issue where some files were erroring out.
Yep.
And essentially, when we were trying to find those errors, the tool would rehash the document,
Oh boy.
not realize it's a duplicate, and publish it.
Oh.
But what was great about actually having that problem is that it was a first experience for me, because we were able to fix it very quickly. You guys sent a patch and some engineers on site.
Oh yeah, Sora was on site for weeks.
Exactly, right? It was a great time for all involved.
Yeah.
But the thing was that problem, it was a total afterthought. And I'm not joking, when the calls we had with the client, that was 30 seconds at the beginning, and then they were just thrilled with how we were able to move through this data so quickly, because the end client was taking a big beating in the press, and we didn't want to exacerbate that by not overly complying with our discovery obligations, and the speed really helped us do that.
Oh, that's great to hear. That's great to hear, and thanks for being patient as we worked with some of those issues.
It happened really quick. It was fixed in a couple weeks. So, the second
request.
Yeah, this one was another Mission Impossible style case.
Wow.
Yep, and that's 5 days to publication. So in that case, Not just the volume of cases, about 5 million documents that we had published, but we also ran the analytics index. We code using inventory. The zero footprint viewer that you just mentioned, that was actually a big part of kind of closing the deal. The way that this case was set up, the client was really sensitive with data security, and that really helped us. One thing too about that collaborative community you talk about, this case actually led to some of the upgrades in the worker allocation, and you guys were great in terms of helping us and collaborating together to help generate those upgrades.
They were like, if we need this functionality to be able to know what's going on, and we built that for you guys.
This is fantastic. And I can move on to that third case study.
This is the big one.
So this is my favorite one. Now, this first case was the single largest processing job we had ever done. We had managed larger cases, but this was the single largest one. And then the next one was then the next largest one. So we had this increase in our ability to handle data sizes.
You're just like one-upping each other every project.
Yeah, we're really confident in the tool. But with this one, the reason I like it so much, it has my favorite part of the stack, which is relativity collection. And what the unique thing was about this case, we had a 6 terabyte data store that 500 users were accessing and interacting with.
Like a file share?
Exactly, but there was no custodial values.
Okay.
So traditionally, what would you do? You'd either process everything, but that can be really expensive.
Yep.
You would give the client some janky file listing and some non-user-friendly spreadsheet and say, do some unintelligent culling.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't say that, but they would end up doing that. Or you would try and maybe cull at the point of collection, but you might miss non-searchable items and things of that nature. So what Scout allowed us to do was it gave us the opportunity to have the client interact with that non-custodial data store with a much more data-rich deliverable. So they would have file name, location, folder structure, and we could do some real culling without having to process the data first. So it was really important for us to have that solution, and we're using it more and more now. Every day. One thing I wanted to do was give a shout to Milton Cervantes, who's our Director of Product Strategy. And Milton will be hosting a workshop today at 11 and tomorrow at 2 on relativity collection and Scout. So if you want to find a way to improve collections efforts or really open up the left side of the EDRM, definitely check out that session.
Cool. Well, thanks, man, for your time. These are great stories.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right.
Take care.
Gosh, what an unbelievable story, right? I love it how we've been they've got an amazing team. Their engineers, the technology, the amount of money they put in the infrastructure. And it's great that we have we're a part of that success story and been able to take on more and more projects. Now let's share the story of one of our law firm clients, Robbins Geller. It's a plaintiff's firm out of San Diego, and who has adopted Relativity UI and the full suite from processing on up. Christine Milliron leads the litigation support function there, and we have this small little video that will tell her story.
I'm Christine Milliron. I'm the litigation support manager for Robbins, Geller, Rudman, and Dowd, and I'm based out of the San Diego office. I am on the steering committee for the Relativity Users Group in San Diego. I am a member of the Women in eDiscovery. I have my RCA certification with Relativity, and I'm also a Relativity Review Specialist. My team definitely helps our firm achieve its eDiscovery vision. We have a great team at Robbins Geller. It consists of people that focus on project management, we have analysts, we have people that focus on the infrastructure. We all face different eDiscovery challenges. With data volumes growing and deadlines becoming shorter, it's very important to have insight into your data fast. We find relativity processing to be very easy, intuitive, and fast. You get to see what data you have faster. And in this day and age where everything is now and deadlines that are really tight, you need to have your data fast. We've definitely seen improvements when upgrading from 8 to the 9 series in terms of the processing product. We've seen enhanced speed, less errors. We've also seen just added features, more options within your processing set, which was needed. And they've improved upon and kept it very simple. We love analytics, and I think the main reason why we love analytics is because it works. So we are very excited about cluster visualization. It really allows you to have insight into your documents, and it's interactive. I think that clustering in general is a very powerful yet underutilized tool, and now with cluster visualization, I think there'll be more adoption and more benefit from it. The heat mapping within data cluster visualization is awesome. It's flexible and it allows you to change what is important and what you're looking for. So I think it just really allows you to do a lot more with your data set up front. The Relativity 9 series has really helped us be more productive. It's not the large features, those are great, but it's all the little things. The filtering, having that always on, less clicks. The clicking on the icon and going back to your workspaces, I love that. There's lots of little features that really make it a solid product. The UI of the future, I think, will expand on data visualization. I think the more you know about your data up front is extremely important to each case. You know, what do I have? What am I missing? I think that's very important.
I love it how Christine speaks to the little features of 9 that made their use of the product far more enjoyable. Like the ability to just like pin the filters open, you know, and sometimes it really is about those little things. So let's close out our customer success interviews with Chris D'Amelio. Chris, earlier this year, made a decision to bring Relativity in-house at Allstate, replacing their legacy solution. Let's get her up here to share her story with Relativity 9. So Chris, what do you do for Allstate?
I manage the e-discovery unit within the law department.
Okay, very cool. And who are your customers in the e-discovery unit?
So our customers are actually our litigators, so it's not the typical customer. People usually think customer for us is our insured, when in fact it's all of our law department.
Oh, I thought like me, I have my cars insured with Allstate, like.
No.
I have got this e-discovery challenge. Yeah.
No.
It could be, it's a nice business. It could be something Allstate can get interested in.
Possibly.
Maybe. All right. So you have your internal litigators. So there's about 50 internal litigators.
Yeah, we do. We have our home office probably has about 150 to 200 attorneys and law professionals.
Okay.
And then we have across the entire U.S. probably about another 1,500.
Cool. And so like internally, this group is like you almost like consider yourself as like a vendor within the corporation.
Yes.
Yes. And so what type of projects are you doing for the firm?
So we do litigation, we collect and process data for subpoena requests, and we've been asked to broaden the scope to bring data in for a repository, for reviewing and searching of our patent applications. Oh,
cool. Well, I'd like to dig into that a little bit. We talked about like when the Relativity being like a marked improvement over like over your legacy tool. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how it's like streamlined your business a little bit?
It's amazing. So we had a product in-house for 5 years, and what we thought was the pinnacle of technology at the time, bringing in Relativity.
5 years ago.
I know.
Yeah. I remember losing that deal.
I'm sorry.
It was sad.
That was not my fault.
5 years, I remember.
For the people out there, Allstate is sort of slow behind the times. We're a little yestertech. Now bringing Relativity in-house has improved everything immensely. So it has taken away the technology forced function off of my team, and it's given them a consultative arm to be able to work with the attorneys and actually get into the meat of the cases.
Yeah, so we've talked about this. Like in the old tool, you'd have to process all these huge jobs, and like there'd be a zillion errors.
So we had a case, for example, that threw between 40 to 50,000 errors that had to be
you might as well just start from scratch at that point.
It was months worth of work.
And in relativity processing, you do lots of errors?
No.
Very little.
None at all.
And so now that you have all this free time that you're not hustling data, you talked about being a bit more consultative, like working closely with the attorneys. That's really cool. What's your vision for like the future?
It would be one platform for everything. So where we can load data in that we would only have to collect once, and we can produce a multitude of times over a variety of cases.
Got it. So if you had like one single system, one unified UI, be able to do everything.
Oh, it would be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
Yes.
And would it like protect you from the from e-discovery mayhem?
Maybe a little.
Maybe a little.
Just a little.
Well, we're very happy to be working with you, and I got to tell you, it's a privilege to work with a Chicago-based institution like Allstate. Thank you for your business.
Thank you very much.
You know, we come to these conferences, and like a big part of what we're going to be talking about today is the new version of the software, Relativity 9.3. And sometimes we forget that like a bunch of our customers are running on older versions of the software, and we want to remind them that the stuff that we have today is actually pretty good as well. Okay. All right. Before we get, I want to just take a moment and share with you our vision and where we want to be as a software company and what we want to deliver with Relativity. So our vision is to become the e-discovery software company for Kure. And we define that we have a solution, a platform that can handle all aspects of e-discovery in the litigation lifecycle. And each capability is considered best in class, and then each capability is effectively a market leader in its particular category. Now, when you kind of ground like what those capabilities should be, you take the EDRM, and we think about it a little bit differently. There's these 6 distinctive stages, and we have a product, or we have a capability across all of these different functions. So legal hold, collection, processing, review and analysis, analytics, productions, case construction stuff. So we've got that covered. And you might be thinking like, okay, so you want to be the e-discovery software company. That's great. But how does that really pertain to me? Like, so what? So what? You want to be the e-discovery software company. That's great. And this is a vision that I've been articulating for our customers for years. We've been talking about this since 2011. And in putting this keynote together, I really struggled on Friday in like talking about this again. Because I have to tell you that this vision doesn't really articulate what our customers need, what our customers want, right? It's more of like it all started out as an internal vision that I shared with internal employees at Kure in terms of what we wanted to achieve as a company. And and in the vision, there's like specific assumptions in it. If we're gonna be best in class, we need to have the richest capabilities and the best performance and the best speed and the best functionality. And if we're going to be market leading, well, we better do a pretty good job of getting it to market and ensuring that our customers are successful with it. So there are always inherent assumptions with it. But again, it's still not like a vision that necessarily articulates our customer focus. Now, I just want to take a moment to also share with you like what we've heard from you in terms of what you want, what you need. And this comes from like the thousands of touch points that we have with you every day. One is that you want to provide nothing but the best e-discovery service for your clients and nothing less. I've spent so much time with all of you, and everyone here wants to do a great job at what they do. And for many of you, like doing this work is your livelihood, it's your business, right? And you need to do the best. 2, you want to become more consultative and provide a higher value of service. We just heard Chris talk about this over at Allstate. We want to get out of the business of just like hustling data around, right? We want to do more interesting work. 3, well, we want our businesses to operate far more efficiently. We need to do more with less. We have compressed times. We've got to deal with more data, less people. 4, you want your businesses to grow, and you want to solve more problems for your clients within e-discovery and outside of e-discovery. And then 5, you want to have fun, you want to be creative, and you want to love your work. This is what we hear from you. That's great, Andrew. I still don't want you to build a collection product. Focus on what you're doing now. But I think you're right. You're right. You don't want another collection product. But what if Kure can give you something better? What if Kure can give you a single system, one UI, one platform that seamlessly connects the custodian, their documents, and every matter, every project, every incident that they were ever involved in? It has a single view of your client's custodian information, synchronized from their single source of truth, whether it be the Active Directory, HR system, or any other trusted authority they have. It doesn't matter because we can plug into anything because there's an API for that. And with each custodian, there's historical intelligence with each matter that they were involved in and how their documents were connected to them. And from that single view of the custodian, you can like seamlessly reach out to them and ask them about future projects and incidences, and seamlessly integrate that and track that within the same platform. The system knows all the obligations that they have to like hold information or whatever retention policies it has, and it releases them when it no longer needs them. And you can do it manually, or it actually plugs into the system that's holding the data. And when we do collect the data, we can intelligently target the data that we want using the same visualization analytics technology and tools that exist in all parts of the platform. And then the data acquisition, it like works behind the scenes, intelligently snatching the data in a forensically sound way without interrupting the custodian's day-to-day work. And then data is moved quickly to the relativity system using the fastest data movement technology, and then automatically processing it and making the data available for review. And now it's not just available for review, it's searchable, and the analytics indexes are lit up. And because we have distributed data technology, we can handle billions of documents. And once all those documents are up online, the system then can kick off all kinds of priv checks, sanity checks, intelligent term analytics, whatever you want it to do, because this is what you program the system to do. And when that deadline approaches, when you got to get that production out the door, you can handle the most complex productions in a single click. And then it quickly get it out of the system with a distributed processing platform, and then gets the package ready so you can get it to the other side. Of course, it's also, because it's 2015, you want to be able to get to it from your phone or maybe your Android tablet. And because the platform is multi-tenant, we can enable you to let your customers do whatever they need to do at their own pace and at their own control. And then you have this platform that not only can do all of that stuff, but you can do so much more within e-discovery and beyond. Yeah, I don't want to give you another collection product. We want to give you a comprehensive e-discovery platform that can let you do things way outside of e-discovery. That's what we want to give you. It's not about the individual components. It's the totality of all the parts that makes this compelling in terms of what we're trying to do. The totality of all the parts. And what enables us to execute on this vision, what it's enabling us to execute on this vision, is the platform. And it's the stuff in this blue box right here. It's the core, it's the application meta model design, the layouts, the views, the object rules, the building blocks, the DNA that we use to build all the different capabilities inside Relativity. It's invariant, a distributed processing engine. It's the data grid, the distributed data platform, allowing us to scale to billions of documents, and it's our integrated analytics capabilities. The platform is going to help us. It's going to enable us to build that, to get to that vision that I just tried to articulate you in the best way it could. And with every release, we get closer to this grand vision. And now I want to dig into the work that we did in 9.3. And I got to tell you, 9.3 is one of the most impressive releases of the software that we've had in years. We are introducing 115 new capabilities across the entire solution set. I'm going to tell you the whole story and share with you what I think is the most relevant and interesting update to Relativity. But you know what? I just can't wait to show you something cool. All right? So I have Dan Miller here. He's my sidekick, our demo sidekick.
Hey.
Are you mic'd up?
I think so, yeah.
Are you activated?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. Can we see the screen, please?
Yep.
All right, so what we're going to be showing is what was it? This project management application you built?
Yeah. So we built a little project management app as we were getting ready for Fest to help track activities that we needed to make sure we did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we'll drill into one of our items.
So organized.
Yeah. So this is pretty quick, pretty lo-fi. So we didn't spend a bunch of time making it clean and organized.
Oh, cool.
So what we can do now is use
our. We got an RDO here, project details, some sub items here.
Yeah. Right. So cool. We can use our new layout builder to.
We have a new layout builder.
Things around. Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool.
So we're going to click this build layout button.
Oh, what's that?
All right, so this is going to pull out the layout builder.
Ah.
All right.
Oh, so now I can easily modify this layout.
Yeah, right. So one thing you'll notice right off the bat is that it looks a whole lot more like the actual layout that you're going to be working with.
Oh, good. WYSIWYG.
WYSIWYG, right, exactly. And you also
Microsoft
notice...
did that in the 90s.
Right. You'll notice that when we click on an item, its properties pops open on the right-hand side, so we don't have like pop-ups that launch pop-ups anymore, right? So,
bad website from the 90s.
Right. OK, so what we can do now is start cleaning some things up. So I'm going to go ahead and add a category.
OK.
So here's a category that we've dropped here.
Oh, cool.
And if we want to move things around, we just click and drag.
Drag and drop.
Yeah, finally. Yay.
Okay. Don't get distracted by the crowd. Keep going.
I know, right?
Keep on time.
Yeah, so I'm going to drop fields around here, move things around.
Why do you use that crazy trackball?
No way, man. Trackball's forever. It's the best.
So weird.
OK, so I'm just moving stuff around, nice and easy. It's got a new name, so let's call it something different instead of this.
History.
We've got history, yeah.
Yeah, you got one more here.
History.
System last modified on.
OK, we'll move that one down too.
Yeah, good.
OK, so drop this over here. OK, cool. So it's in here, but you know, history is not something that we're going to use all the time.
I want to hide that.
Yeah, let's tuck it away. So what we can do now is we can click and drag it, and I just dropped this up into project details. So now what we've got is a concept called layout groups.
Oh, cool.
So we've got one card, but when we've got a bunch of data that we don't necessarily need to access concurrently, we can have multiple tabs and just flip between them. And this kind of gives you a preview of how it'll work.
Can we tuck the two sublists in together?
Yeah,
those
sure.
sublists just like show up on
you keep having to scroll up and down on the page, right? Yeah, so again, we can tuck these things together. And like because these are relativity dynamic objects, it's like action item dash action item. It's got a funny name, so we can just give this a friendly name, action item.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's so much nicer.
And then again, we can just click and drag these things all together.
Nice.
Yeah. And one additional thing we'll take a look at, we can just, again, add another category and show how we can interact with some of the fields specifically. So let's drag this description field. So the description's pretty key. We want to kind of highlight it on the page.
Project, how we're working on.
Yeah, right. And instead of having just this thing tucked in the corner, we can click this button to expand it over to two columns. Cool. So we don't have to remember row number, order number, column number anymore. It's just click, drag.
I used to love the Sudoku problem in my head.
Right. So we'll call this description.
Okay.
And when we click on this item, it's text. We'll flip this over to inline rich text. OK. So this is looking pretty good. So we're going to save this and close it. So here's a new layout, a whole lot easier to use. We can jump around to the different items really quickly, really easily. And pop in.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah, so one thing that you'll notice here is we've got a new inline rich text editor.
Cool.
So you don't have to click a pop-up anymore to get to rich text.
Gosh.
So we've got some stuff, color layout groups, drag and drop, new text editor, a whole bunch of different stuff. So let's list this out so we can jump here, enter this over, and start putting in a bullet list, right? And just
get the point.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. What's that little manage button there?
Oh, the manage button.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, manage.
Interesting.
Is that a choice field?
It is, yeah. So what we have here is a multiple choice field. We can click on this manage button.
OK. Oh, that's neat.
And so what we can do right from the layout here is we can add choices and manage our choices. So let's add a new choice. Looks like we got a bunch of departments here. Well, maybe
IP under legal, yes.
OK, so we'll add a new choice for IP.
Oh, it's saving.
And there, it's saved. And now we've added it. And then we can just click and drag.
Oh, cool.
And it's now a sub-choice under legal. Yeah, close.
Cool.
And it drops it right under legal. So instead of having to go to the choices tab, we can do it all in one.
Do that ordering, remembering all those orders in your head.
Forget it.
Oh, gosh. OK, awesome. That was great, man.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Was that pretty cool? Yeah? Is that going to help you move faster? Does it make the application less annoying? Yes. It really does for me. OK. All right. Now let's dig into some of the work that we're doing with Relativity Collection, and specifically with a new capability that we call auto upload. And so here's how it works. Within Relativity Collection, you will issue your collection request to the custodian. They receive the email, download and run the collector. The collector does the data acquisition, puts the files into a secure encrypted container. Then when it's finished, it will upload it, the container, to the Relativity server and stage it in an area where you can pick it up for processing. You as the collecting administrator will get an email that the collection is complete, and at that point, you simply go to your processing set, include the collection container as the data source, and then kick off the set where Relativity then processes the data and makes the collected data immediately available for review. And this is awesome, and later in the presentation, I'll show you how all this stuff comes together. And currently we support self-collection from like the local file system, the network, file shares, Exchange, Office 365, and Gmail. And in the winter, we'll be making our API available where Kure, you, and our ISVs will have the ability to quickly develop plugins to plug into any data source, whether client-specific or server-specific. And Kure will be the first organization to consume the API by delivering a SharePoint connector. More to come. Oh. Thank you. Now I would like to share with the work that we've done with processing data in Relativity. And early on, in the presentation, we featured some of our clients, and they shared their experiences with processing data and how it's been so impactful for their organizations to do it all within Relativity. They are just a small sample. In fact, we have 145 clients licensing and using the technology to date. Now, I have to say, it really didn't come easy for Kure. In fact, 12 months ago, as more and more organizations were processing data with us, its capabilities were stretched across many different dimensions, including scalability, throughput, functionality, and reliability. And it was hard on our customers. This is a text message that I received from a client that decided to make the decision to go all in with Relativity processing, and it was one that was hustling a lot of data through the platform. And it was like, Andrew, having an internal meeting about our upgrade strategy, processing discussion not going well, suggestions to terminate the work that we're doing with Relativity processing. We'll give you more once I get all the perceived facts. I responded, not good. You know, it was a really rough go. And this wasn't the only customer. And you told us that we needed to address this, and we needed to address this fast. And you know what? We knew that we were in trouble. And if we were going to be successful as a modern e-discovery platform, our processing capabilities had to be robust, had to be fast, and had to be bulletproof. And so what we had to do is refocus our development efforts and put a large amount of engineering resources and assembled a team to get the software where we need it to be. And we called this initiative the Processing Swarm. And the Swarm addressed 30 maturity features and resolved 91 material defects in the system. And the Swarm had 3 core areas of focus: improving stability, addressing feature gaps, and improving throughput. Let's dig into some of the things that we started to tackle specifically with stability. So there are all kinds of things that we addressed. We introduced logging for better troubleshooting, improving the handling of NSF files, improved the way that threads crowded on the data, improved the upgrade and installation mechanism in the back end, and made the publishing pipeline far more resilient. And if you were going to make this the primary approach for processing, we had to plug in some gaps. We wanted to give you the ability to directly ingest EO1 files, get visibility to what the workers are doing, improving the reporting and getting metrics across the entire instance for the data that you're processing for your clients, improve workflows and have better control of the worker grid, allow you to allocate and prioritize node for specific functions. And finally, we just had to make it faster, because it's never fast enough. We made Excel file text extraction faster, we improved the file ID process, but the largest improvement was in a revamped job queue, resulting in improved concurrency across workers and faster discovery speeds. Deduplication is now 3.x times faster. Excel text extraction is now 16 times faster. And because the conversion, native imaging, and processing engine all leverage the same distributed processing engine, the improved queue had a material impact on native imaging performance, making it 14% faster than before. The team, the processing swarm team, man, they did a great job. Oh, thanks. The Swarm was a success, and we got it right for our clients. And the person who sent that text message earlier, well, they are still a client, and their primary tool is Relativity. Now, some of the most compelling work we've done when it comes to data ingestion in 9.3 and where we're taking in the future is all centered around the intersection between processing, data grid, and the core review system. With 9.3, you now have the ability to process directly to the data grid and then search the published data directly from the indexes created within the grid. Let's peel an onion a bit and compare the world prior to the data grid and then with it. So before data grid, When you process data, we pull metadata out of the discovered files and place them into an interim location. When the job is done, we effectively import the data into the Relativity SQL database. And once the data is in the database, you then kick off a subsequent process to then index the data using like DT search, effectively making it searchable. With Data Grid, it's a little bit different. It's actually far more efficient. When you process data to a workspace within the grid enabled, the text is ingested in the grid and becomes immediately searchable. When the data is then published into Relativity, instead of moving the data around, the Relativity workspace merely links to the data back to the grid. Now, this efficiencies, like the improvement, they're pretty dramatic. We're going from like raw data to review, discover and process, load the data into Relativity workspace, then make the data fully searchable. We're using the EDRM data set, 118 gigabytes, 1.1 million documents. And before Data Grid, that would take about 3 hours end to end. With the Data Grid, it's now 1 hour and 27 minutes. So that's like end-to-end soup to nuts in an industrial strength review system. And the coolest thing about this is that the first document is immediately available and searchable in 20 minutes. So we talk about like, hey, we want to be able to get all this data, but like our attorney's got to get at it right away. Well, in 20 minutes, you'll have it. And in an hour and a half, you'll have everything. So when you take processing, Data Grid, and the review system, and you put it together in a real meaningful way, you get awesomeness. It's faster, instantaneous search, no indexes to build or maintain, and it stores less copies of the data. And again, we are just getting going with the innovation that was coming together in these 3 products. So the power of the end-to-end story is real. When you combine collection, processing, Data Grid, with the review platform in an innovative way that automatically streamlines the movement of data across these function lines, you really get something special. And the best way to articulate it is to just show you. And so I asked, this was kind of like a last-minute thing, and so I asked Nick Robertson like a couple nights ago to make a video showing the end-to-end capabilities of Relativity. Play the video, please.
Last minute request in from Andrew. He wants an end-to-end e-discovery demo for his keynote. It is the night before Relativity Fest, so not like I have anything else going on, but sure, let's do this. Luckily, I've got Relativity 9.3, and this is going to be no problem. And you know what? I'm going to start a timer. Let's see just how fast end-to-end e-discovery can be. I've got my workspace here, man versus discovery. I think man wins in the world of Relativity 9.3. So first, we're going to start by collecting some data. All right, and this is the auto magical part of 9.3. It's going to automatically upload my collected data, my encrypted RCC container file, push it right to Relativity where we can process it into review. So yes, upload my RCC file. Now, I'm playing the role of an admin, so I have logged into the machine that I want to acquire, so we'll just go ahead and scout this machine directly. Click here, it's going to drop a quick little piece of software on the local machine that it's going to use to scout, take an inventory of all the files, because I want to make this collection smart. Off it goes. I'm here in the office all alone. It's kind of dark. All right, boom, we're scouted. Let's go build my collection. Aha, my important stuff. There it is. This is definitely what we want to collect. Looks like it's about 61 files. Let's run our collector. Kick this off, and the cool thing that's going on here is in a matter of minutes, I found the custodian's machine that I wanted to collect data from. Got an inventory of everything on it. So we've got about 113 megs we need here. I made a decision about what I wanted to collect. Kick that sucker off. I'll be eating about 50 pieces of pizza this week. Okay, Boom. Collected. Let's get some data processing. So first, this is fully encrypted. I got a good audit trail here and a chain of custody. So let's go into our password bank. I'm going to add the password for this encrypted RCC container. So processing will know what to do with it. There we go. Let's create a processing set. This is fast and easy. We'll call this next laptop. Already got a profile set up. We know how to treat this data. No thinking. It's good because it's late. I don't want to think. All right, let's go grab that encrypted container. It's dropped right into Relativity. There, we got it. All right, and I've got auto publish turned on, so I'm just gonna click discover files. Watch this sucker run. I'm back. Somebody move something on my desk. All right, we're in. We're published. It's time to go to review. We've got documents, and we process directly into data grid, which means these suckers are searchable. So we run a little term here. Do some stemming. There you have it. 15 minutes. End-to-end e-discovery. Relativity Fest. Feeling pretty good about things.
Bringing it all together. So think about it. We went from thinking about doing a collection, scouting a custodian's machines, performing the collection in a forensically sound way, automatically uploading and staging the data, processing it, making it reviewable and searchable while having full chain of custody, completed in minutes. Pretty cool. Since the beginning of 2015, we've been completely overhauling the way productions are handled in Relativity with the launch of 9.3. We've continued to make tons of progress on increasing the scope of complexity in terms of like the kind of productions you can handle in the software. And before I dig into them, I just want to talk about this ideas portal right here. This is our ideas portal. It's part of the customer portal. It's like your way that you can go and contribute ideas, and you can vote things up and comment on them. And it's a great place for us to learn about what you guys want. And in the Ideas portal, the number one requested feature is this thing called custom placeholders. And this is, you guys are like, all right, we built it. All right, so like, we went through, yes, you guys wanted it. You had over 3,000 votes. We built the custom placeholders, right? Like, so you can go in the system and you can define the placeholders using the new rich text editor. You can upload images to it, building your placeholder. If you have a file that's your placeholder, you can upload that as well. You can build your little catalog of placeholders to use in your productions. Cool. Another thing we've done is actually made some improvements on how you store the Bates field on the documents as well. So right now in Relativity, you got to create some Bates fields. You got to create actually Bates fields for each production you run, but then this causes all kinds of problems. You might forget to actually create the Bates fields, or when you run multiple productions in the same workspace, you might actually overwrite stuff, and that's no good either. And so we had to come up with a better way with that. So this is the before way with you creating all these fields. The after way is this. And so now every production you create essentially has a relational record in Relativity, and then this is cool. It's like productions. Well, look how excited we are about productions. I think you guys get the point. And so with the customer portal, with this and this advice application that was built to like split documents, we've now officially completed the top 10 portal requests of all time. So we use the portal. All right, thank you. Yeah, we use the portal. Go contribute the ideas, and please go vote today. Oh, great. Now, one thing that our customers really appreciate about Relativity is the ability to create templates for a lot of different processes in relativity. And with these templates, we allow you to allow for reuse and consistent workflow between all the different parts of relativity, whether it's setting up your review project, how you process data, how you image documents, and we use for a variety of different things like profiles and sets, views, layouts. That's how you templatize a bunch of things. And we allow you to basically, through these templates, to move faster. Now, who's been in this situation before? It's 3 in the morning and you've been at the office since 8 a.m. And now you've been at it for 15 hours. You're exhausted. But the review team's been hot and heavy. You guys are working towards like some type of court-mandated deadline, and the team is finally finished, and now you need to get this production out the door. And this is no ordinary production, but one that has truly many intricate requirements. All Excel files are going to be produced natively with slip sheets, redacted Excels as images, priv docs indicated with slip sheets, corrupted files need to be represented. Man, this one is a doozy. Now, if you were going to do this in relativity today, it would take you a zillion steps to actually make it happen. And it's a huge multi-step complicated process, and one that's very manual and prone to errors. And think about when you're doing that in the middle of the night. With Relativity 9.3, productions are now a template. So you can effectively go through, for each production spec, you go and you create a saved search for the different requirements for each one. Then you create your production set. You add the data source, and you define like what placeholder you want, how do you want to do the markup set treatment, read action set. You stage the production. Once it's staged, then you click the button, ready to go. And so you can effectively set up the production when you receive the request and not necessarily when you need to actually do it. And then when you're ready to run it, you just basically click the stage button, and then you click go, and you're done. And the best part about it is you could save it as a template to reuse it in the future if you have a rolling production, or if you could tuck it into your case templates, where then all your production specs carry along with it. Just to give you a perspective, that production would take like 40 minutes to set up and run prior to 9.3, and now it takes 5. And that's just the setup, not the actual execution. Once you got it set up, it literally takes like a split second. It's like how quickly you can click the button. So again, we're making massive improvements to the way you can produce documents in relativity. So as our product matures in both like complexity and scale, and when our customers deploy it, it's important for us to improve the back-end administrative capabilities to make it easier to administer a relativity scale. And there's like a handful of updates I want to share with you, but I got to tell you, if you're a non-system admin, if you're a non-geek, this is probably not the part for you, because we're about to enter a nerd zone. So check your email, post a selfie, check your latest matches on Tinder, whatever, right? Like, earlier on, we spoke on how there's over 70,000 cases in the relativity ecosphere, and if you dig into the data, you discover that there's a percentage of them that are dormant. In fact, 16% of them have seen no action in the last 6 months, and 5% haven't seen action in the last 12 months. And you might say, well, why don't you just like disconnect them, you archive them? But in relativity, it's really not that easy, because relativity has a federated data architecture. See, when in a workspace, we store information in all these different places. You got like user group settings in the master database, the SQL workspace, the analytics index, the DT search indexes. You got the file system, all the documents. Now you got stuff in the data grid. How do you archive all that stuff? Well, you use the ARM, and that's what we created Fit for. So with the ARM, you basically go in relativity, I want to archive this case, and what it does is it creates this neat little box, and then it'll take all like these different like components and put them into the ARM box, and then you can put it away for safekeeping. And then when you're ready, when you want to restore that database, you just bring the box out, you point the ARM on it, and it doesn't matter if you're like on this Relativity 9 or if you're on 9.4 or any other future version, like the system will just restore the databases, automatically upgrade all the schemas, and then you're up online. And as much as I love to say that there's 8 petabytes of data stored in like the relativity ecosystem, I'd probably prefer that you actually take and you archive all that data, and you save a little money on storage fees. But wait, there's more. Yep. Wow. But wait, there's more. The ARM allows you to move workspaces between SQL Server database, allows you to move files around different shares, allows easier migration between instances, supports importing DBMT archives, and then you can regularly schedule federated ARM backups. So you basically tell the system, hey, if you want to back up take a full federated backup once a week, you can schedule the ARM to do that. Okay. So after every major release, our engineering teams have something that that we call the hackathon, where the engineers can blow off some steam and point their creative energy at whatever they choose. And one of the hackathon projects that was created was called Config-Amazement. And Config-Amazement was a team put together by our production support teams, and what it does is it puts a front end on the back end configuration values and relativity. That's stuff stored in the SQL database. And what it does is it prevents you from doing this, right? And there's probably only 100 of you that know what this is. But if you do this inadvertently, you basically trashed your entire relativity instance, and believe me, that happens. And so we just put a simple front end on the configuration values. You can go through and you can change them and you edit it, and since they're artifacts, it's all audited. Go Config-Amazement your way away. And keeping an instance of relativity is performing in a tip-top shape can be a challenge. Right? It can be a challenge. Now, we give you tools like the performance dashboard, and the performance dashboard will actually go in and aggregates all this data about how well your environment performed. But the problem is that it's all the data that it collects is after the fact. Right? It's too late. Someone's already called me. There's a problem. I already saw oh man, my best in service audit didn't go that well. Right? It's after the fact. So what we wanted to do was give you a way to monitor performance in real time. And we do that through something that we call telemetry. And what telemetry does is now relativity actually spews real-time metrics as it's doing its work. And then you could gather these metrics in any type of modern APM tool, like a Datadog or an App Dynamics. And it allows you to correlate application-specific level stuff and environmental level implementation. And basically, it's going to help you ensure that your environment is running in tip-top shape. And this is a sample dashboard that we've put together. You can see CPU usage. This is people viewing going doc to doc and whether they're hitting a queue or not, how long they're waiting for the documents to spin up. And then you can configure these things, and this Datadog thing is free, by the way. You can configure these things that when there's alert, when something goes red, it actually sends you an email. So you can then know in real time how well your system is performing. All right. So with that, the Nerd Zone is now over. Okay. All right. We're now saving the best for last. The most exciting work in 9.3, the most exciting work is related to the Relativity UI and the work that we're doing there. And organizationally, the excitement and the craziness that we have over this body of work has been pretty fun. This is a text message that I exchanged with Nick Robertson, who's a longtime Kure guy, and he's our VP of product marketing. He's like, I just demoed Alpha 5 for Monica. Please reserve judgment about what I do with my personal time. First thing she said, it was fast and it could be used for so many things. I married the white woman. That's awesome. I love it. And I responded that Fluid has me falling in love with relativity again. And Fluid is the code name of this project. And for those of us who've been in the software for years, this version has truly had an emotional impact on many of us, and I really hope that this is having the same impact on you. And the work that we're doing in Fluid is really a continuation of the work that we started last year to modernize the relativity user interface. And overall, that we think about how we're modernizing the front end of relativity is by approaching it from a multi-phase, multi-release process where we address a major subsystem in 3 core phases. Phase 1, overhaul the viewer. Phase 2, take lists and data analysis to the next level. And then finally, phase 3, implement a new engine for displaying and rendering forms. Now, phase 1 was addressed in 9.0, and now in 9.3, we are addressing this. Okay? Now I just want to take a moment and share with you, when we went and redo this piece, what were some of the design tenets? So 1 is we wanted to make it fluid. 2, we wanted to one-up pivot. And 3, we wanted to reimagine search. So making it fluid. When we speak of the UI as being more fluid, we want it to be more interactive, more responsive, less clicks, easier to use, visually appealing. One up in Pivot. Now Pivot, we first introduced data analysis capabilities over 5 years ago, and it was through Relativity Pivot. And at Pivot, we gave our users the ability to analyze any result in Relativity, whether it was the result of a view or a search, and it was open. And our goal was not to make data, it was to make data analysis a core part of the application, not a separate part that you would go to. And it would be fully integrated into the system and readily available when you wanted to use it. Pivot would work on any object that it was enabled for, and we would open it up and allow you to run like aggregations on any field or dimension that you wanted. We'd give you a ton of options and allow you to create profiles so you can easily rerun specific pivots on demand. And for those who mastered it, you really loved it. And twice a week, we'll actually conduct what we call a perception survey, and one of the questions that we ask during the survey is like, what do you like best about Relativity? And often Pivot would come up. So how do we take something that you really like and make it better? How do we one-up Pivot? Well, one is we make it easier to use. I actually don't think that like a Pivot is that easy to use. It's a lot of clicks. It's kind of weird, but I think there's a lot of opportunity there. 2, can we provide more visualizations, more ways of looking at the data? 3, can we improve the interactivity? 4, don't just limit me to like one pivot. And then finally 5, let's provide some dashboards. So if you're going to have multiple pivots, how would that come together? And I think I just blew the surprise by just sharing up how we want to pivot.
I'll just go down.
Can we go to the demo, please? Let me show you how this works.
Cool. Yeah, and before we get into any of the visualization stuff, there's some really cool stuff going on the document list just outside of the visualizations here.
Yeah.
So here we've got our standard document list, and if you go down to the bottom right-hand side, you can see total items, 53,000.
53 items. There's no more top 1,000?
No more top 1,000.
Oh.
Add 5,000. All right. So, what does this mean? If you want to jump the document 5,000, you just click that.
Go to like 33,452.
33,452. Jump to that. Okay,
wow.
So there you go. All right. You can page around, jump to the last page, jump back to the first page. Yeah, so really you just got to
snappy
and traverse all the way through your data set.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
What's that little add widget button?
Add widget. Okay, cool. So we can go
add
ahead.
pivot?
Yeah, so this is like pivot one-upped, right?
Oh, one-up pivot.
Yep. So you go in here, and what we can do, and we can pick a group by. So let's do a simple date visualization.
Sent date, yes.
Oh wait, no, do that. Yeah, maybe do it by month.
Line.
And do it by line graph.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go add the pivot. So now we've got a visualization of the dates across these 53,000 documents.
Cool. Can we add more?
Yeah, within this one, some cool stuff to do. You can select and zoom in. You can drag around, right?
Neat.
You can hover on different points. It'll tell you the grand total, what series you're pointing out.
Yeah.
So really cool interaction within the visualization. But yeah, you can definitely add more. So what's another one we could add? Custodian's a pretty good one. Bar chart's actually pretty good for that. We'll just go ahead and drop that on there.
Cool.
We can just keep going. We can
let's add more.
Yeah, let's do.
How many can we add?
A ton.
All right, cool.
I think like a bunch of support and dev guys just freaked out in the back. So maybe not a ton.
I'm sure that it's all within limits.
We'll say like a bunch.
We'll probably put some like configured thing to like limit it.
And you can use configure amazement
to update it.
Okay, cool. So what are we going to put on here? Let's put on file category. And this would probably look pretty good as a pie chart. There's not that many values. So we're starting to drop these things on here.
Cool.
You can move these things around, though, and resize them. So let's go ahead and take this date and drag it across the top here.
That's
snaps
cool.
right in place.
That's neat.
And
I like my visualizations on top.
Yeah, OK, we can do that. So what we'll do is we can collapse these. You can also collapse all your visualizations. Let's drag lists down to the bottom. We can pop it back open. So really easy to move these things around and interact with them.
Yeah.
And it's also not just static with whatever you're looking at. As you're going through, you can zoom around. So let's say I want to drill in and check out Chris Dorland's documents. So we click this, and you can see here's Chris Dorland's documents. All of the visualizations have updated real time.
Does it apply to views?
Yeah, it applies to views as well. So any way you choose to slice, dice your data in Relativity, you now have got visualizations showing
kind of like Pivot. Any data set I'm looking at, I could just like do this.
Pivot one up.
Pivot one up.
Right. Cool. So let's flip back to our kind of main data set here.
What's that thing in the right-hand corner there?
Yeah, so what we have here is our dashboard. So we don't want to go through the exercise of adding these widgets and getting them in the right place and moving around. So let's let's
It'd be real
save.
tedious to do
Yeah,
every time.
right. So
Goes
what
against
we
what
can
we're trying to do and make things faster.
is make these dashboards, right? So
Ah.
here's a real simple one that you might find useful, pulling up the timeline. You can kind of layer in another attribute on top of this.
Yeah,
So
it's
here
like a
is
multi-dimensional pivot.
That's right, that's right. So here you have your timeline, but we've layered in the custodian data. And again, this is interactive. So if I hover over, here's Chris Dorland's data, here's Damon's, here's Eric's, and you can see really quickly and really easily that Eric Linder's communication is all kind of isolated within these 3 months, and it was really easy to get to that information.
Whew. Data insights.
So all the visualizations we've looked at so far, all the dashboards have kind of been visualization plus list. But really, if you're doing some exploration, you're trying to get your arms around what kind of stuff you've got in your workspace, you can just have visualization. This is similar to what we built on the fly like a minute ago, but we've got this saved as a dashboard. So maybe as you're running through different searches, you can see how these things update and what kind of documents you're working with.
Cool.
You can also do something with like maybe review progress. So this is a data set that's gone through a first pass review.
Yeah.
We've gone through and tagged documents on responsiveness, responsive, not responsive, not sure,
Oh, this guy's got
and
more
again,
responsive.
we go in here, like, here's not sure, this guy's got twice as many, reviewer
Yeah,
5.
indecisive people.
Right, reviewer 3's got like a ton more responsive documents than anybody
reviewers.
else. So again, really quickly, really easily, we're able to get a tremendous amount of understanding on a really big data set with relative ease.
Wow, wickedly powerful. Holy stuff, cool. Okay, stay right there.
Stay there, okay.
What do you guys think of that? Slide, please. I think we did a pretty good job in one-up and pivot on that one. So next, when we think about like reimagining search, what did you tell us? That searching isn't very easy, and you always have to move through several different steps and screens to build a search term. And there's no easy ability to shift your search conditions around when you're editing advanced searches, and it's time consuming. Once you've kind of built like your parenthetical hierarchies, you're kind of stuck with it. And then fundamentally, it's just like, man, can you just like make this thing better for us? And so when we thought about like reimagining search, what did we think? One is we wanted to make it easier and reduce the complexity out of writing complex and sophisticated searches. Speed, and this is not just like speed of like search execution, but can we make it faster for you to build these complex searches? 3, we want to build a paradigm where it made it easy to like iterate and build on your searches, because often you don't necessarily come to the computer thinking you're going to build something really complex, but it's like an iterative process as you analyze and dig into the data. And then finally, we want to give you some visual comprehension. So I've built this complex search. How can I just look at something and quickly understand what it's doing? Back to the computer, please.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, so I've pulled up a new dashboard here, the term analysis dashboard. So STRs.
Yes.
STR is one of the most powerful, commonly used tools
STRs.
in relativity,
Yes.
And what we've done here is we've taken STRs and visualized them not just individually as terms, but by custodian, by date. And just like we did before, we can kind of hover over, scan through, get a quick understanding. And here's, we see this term here, off within 5 of books. So maybe somebody's talking about something being done like off the books, and like that's something that's interesting we might want to dig into.
Yeah,
so we can go down to the keywords visualization here and click that button. And what I've done is I've run a search, right?
Oh.
So I've now narrowed my universe down to just those documents where people are talking about things being off the books.
Yeah.
And if I go up here and click this little search window, what I've done is now visualize that I've got a different condition that I've added to my data set.
These little cards.
Yeah, right. And so what we can now do is we can continue to build out conditions. So, Philip Love, let's dig into his stuff.
Cool.
And so now we're only looking at Philip Love's stuff. And we don't have to stick on this one dashboard. We can move around. So let's go back to that document analysis visualization, and we can see, categories. We got emails and spreadsheets. This document population is like 70–80% emails, but 170 of these are spreadsheets. We can add that as a condition, and then just because this is, effectively like the Documents tab, just like it was before, we can act on all these, tag them, save them as PDF, email them out, whatever you need to do.
Integrated for the full application.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So. In addition to being able to build searches on the fly by clicking on parts of the visualization, what we can do is we can kind of mix and match. So I'm going to reset and jump back to just level and our original 53 or so thousand documents. And we can go in and run a keyword search here. So let's go to index search, and we're going to search the data grid, a Kure classic search, turkey or Thanksgiving.
It's close to get November.
Right. Cool. So we'll run that keyword search, click run, and loading our results. Loading.
We're going to have like our Microsoft moment.
Maybe we will. Oh, Thanksgiving is misspelled. That is why. That is why we invite Steve Robertson to Relativity Fest. OK, cool. So now we've got 176 documents.
That's actually part of the show.
Cool. So we've added this, this search, and now we can start to build out our search and dig in a little bit more.
Okay.
So again, as I mentioned, we can kind of mix and match. So we can go in and just look at the emails on this, and we can go in and add some more conditions.
What else?
So let's look for documents that are responsive. So I started typing here, and I click responsive.
Oh.
And so now we've got our condition builder here. So we can look for documents that are responsive or not sure. Click apply. Add another condition, maybe we want to see issues. So, we noticed that as we were going through these documents that
just like the type ahead is so nice.
The type ahead you look
and it's
quickly.
everywhere. It's available if I had long like STRs too.
Yeah, if we had like a million terms, we could do that here.
Nice.
So we noticed that documents sometimes that were tagged as not responsive, but we had reviewers go in, tag them, find them as hot documents. But as we built out this kind of query pipe here, you notice that we've got everything ANDed together, and that doesn't really work that well for what we're trying to do. So we're going to go ahead and add a logic group. So I'm going to click and drag my search conditions and do some grouping. So now what I've done is made an OR statement. You can see how these parentheses are kind of grouping these things together. And for those of us who have built searches in previous versions of Relativity, that would have been quite an effort to move things around. So we can go ahead and run this search.
Cool.
And everything is pulled back. And another cool thing that we've done here is we've given you the ability to toggle items. So we can turn on a search, and we went from 68 documents to 60 if we would disable this. So you can do a quick snapshot if you've got a bunch of conditions built up to see what the impact would be on just like turning off a single one of those without having to tear down the whole search.
Got it. A good way to like explore and be iterative. And I can always like move these cards around and easily adjust my condition logic groups.
You got it.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan Miller. It's pretty cool. Reimagining search. And the coolest thing about what you saw with that brand new UI, it is 100% built on our publicly available APIs. That new query pipeline, the ability to create searches, the folder browser, the cluster browser, the pivoting, the aggregation, all of it is built 100% on APIs that you, our developer community, the ecosystem can now use to build new and innovative front ends to like Relativity. And so, with that, this is Relativity 9.3, our most comprehensive and significant update to the software yet. We've given you the ability to go from thinking about a collection to having reviewable in an industrial scale review platform in minutes. We built the next phase of distributed processing and distributed data with the improvements with Data Grid, further reducing the cycle time of being able to go from raw data to searchable review. Further refinements to our user interface across the board, ridiculously powerful tools that you can use to analyze data on any dimension, and suitable for all user types, from lawyers trying to find who did what and why, to the project managers trying to optimize their workflow. A reimagined search interface, making it easier than ever to construct even the most complex searches, and the evolution of our platform, allowing our developers to do more with the technology. And there you have it. Relativity 9.3, bringing us one closer to becoming the e-discovery software company and giving you a platform that can firmly streamline your business, allow you to move faster, hustle larger projects with shorter cycle times, and giving you a canvas to showcase your creativity and expertise, all while having more fun while you're at it. You can try it in the labs. And before we go, I just want to thank the team for all the hard work on Relativity 9.3 and putting on a great show. I want to thank to all of our customers who are willing to share their stories with us. I want to thank to everyone who came to Like Fest. I know you guys are super busy and for coming to our conference. I want to thank all of our customers for their feedback, for their support, for being patient with us, and more importantly, for your business and trust. Have a wonderful Relativity Fest. We're done.